When discussing the New England Patriots, the conversation almost always focuses on the offense. Quarterback offensive evolution, explosive plays. It's a natural path for many analysts and fans. However, this approach ends up overlooking a fundamental aspect that has been decisive in this campaign, the defense. There is an aggressive, physical, and disciplined defensive unit that has been operating outside the spotlight, but which could be the big difference maker in this decisive matchup against the Denver Broncos in the AFC Championship Game. Before we continue, I'd like to extend a direct invitation to the fans following this analysis. If you enjoy in-depth content, please subscribe, like, and participate in the comments. This support is essential to keep providing detailed and objective analyses like this one to you. The first point that completely alters the game's scenario lies in the most important position on the court. Bo Nix's injury is above all an unfortunate situation. There's no celebration when an athlete gets hurt. Still, from a sporting perspective, the change is profound. Without Nix, the Broncos' offense is now led by Jared Stidham, a quarterback who hasn't been playing regularly and arrives at this point without recent competitive rhythm. This in itself changes how the opposing defense can prepare. The difference between Bo Nix and Jared Stidham isn't just in their names, but in their profiles. Nix is a mobile quarterback, accustomed to leaving the pocket, extending plays, and using his legs as part of the offensive plan. This characteristic has always made life difficult for defenses, especially when it comes to generating consistent pressures. Stidham, on the other hand, fits much more into the classic pocket quarterback mold. Even if there are plays designed to move him around, the success of the offense largely depends on him remaining protected within the offensive structure. This is precisely where the Patriots' defense finds a clear advantage. The team has consistently stood out in the postseason for its ability to pressure high-level quarterbacks. The intensity of the front seven, combined with disciplined execution, has caused constant discomfort to opposing offenses. Regardless of the justifications related to the offensive lines faced, the fact is that the pressure arrives, and it arrives quickly. Players on the interior of the defensive line and on the edges have been crucial in this process. Their rotation, physical strength, and accurate reading of the plays frequently cause the pocket to collapse. Against a less mobile quarterback, this pressure tends to be even more impactful. The expectation is for a game in which Jared Stidham will be constantly tested, forced to make quick decisions, and often under less than ideal conditions. The second central aspect of the analysis involves the Broncos' running game. At one point in the season, the team managed to establish itself as a force running the ball. This scenario changed drastically after J.K. Dobbins' injury. Since then, efficiency has plummeted, and the offense has become even more dependent on the quarterback to keep the offense moving. Even with the possibility of Dobbins returning, there is legitimate doubt about his physical condition. Returning from injury in such an important game doesn't necessarily mean being in peak condition. Recent league history shows that rushed returns don't always result in a real impact on the field. Furthermore, Bo Nix's absence removes an important variable from the running game, as his mobility forced defenses to consider multiple possibilities. Without that constant threat, the burden falls on running backs who, up until now, have shown only average production. Recent performances against strong defenses have exposed limitations and made it difficult to sustain long drives. On the other hand, the Patriots' run defense has been one of the team's strongest points. The collective work of the front seven has closed gaps, won battles at the line of scrimmage, and forced defenses to abandon the running game sooner than they would like. This combination of factors narrows the Broncos' offense down to a single path. With a weakened running game and no mobile quarterback to compensate, the offensive responsibility falls almost entirely on Jared Stidham's arm. And it is precisely here that another defensive strength of the Patriots begins to gain even more relevance. New England's secondary has been extremely efficient, and Christian Gonzalez's individual performance exemplifies this. His ability to limit receptions, contest passes, and eliminate big plays has been consistent. Quarterbacks who have tried to exploit him have encountered clear difficulties with low efficiency and reduced production. In a scenario where the opposing offense relies on the passing game to survive, this type of matchup is significant. The combination of pocket pressure and solid coverage deep downfield creates a hostile environment for any quarterback, especially one without recent game rhythm. The tendency is for rushed passes, forced reads, and errors that can change the course of the game. This analysis only considers the defensive side of the ball, and even so, the Patriots' advantages consistently accumulate. The narrative of an easy path to this point doesn't hold up when you consider the level of defenses faced along the way. New England has been repeatedly tested against highly rated units and has responded effectively. This reinforces the idea that their current performance is not the result of favorable circumstances, but of solid execution and adequate preparation. All of this leads to a clear partial conclusion. If Bo Nix were available, the conversation would take on a different form. His mobility and ability to improvise completely alter the dynamics of an offense. Without him, however, the Patriots enter the field with objective defensive advantages, supported by data, recent performance, and matchup characteristics. Observing the matchup objectively, it becomes clear that the constructed scenario leads to a logical conclusion. With the Broncos' offense limited, the New England Patriots' defense gains even more prominence. Defensive pressure tends to be constant, especially on a quarterback who lacks sufficient mobility to frequently escape the pocket. This type of situation directly favors the Patriots' front seven, which has demonstrated discipline, physical strength, and precise play reading throughout the postseason. New England's defensive advantage isn't limited to just the defensive line. The Patriots' secondary has played a key role in neutralizing passing options. Christian Gonzalez has become a focal point in the system, reducing passing windows and forcing quarterbacks to avoid his side of the field. When this coverage combines with pocket pressure, the effect is cumulative. The quarterback needs to throw quickly, but doesn't find open targets easily, increasing the risk of errors. This context reinforces the idea that the game tends to unfold in terms of the Patriots' defense. Without a consistent running game, the Broncos' offense loses balance. J.K. Dobbins' injury directly impacted the team's offensive identity, and even a possible return doesn't guarantee the same level of efficiency seen previously. Bo Nix's absence deepens this problem since his mobility was an essential part of both the running game and supporting the passing game. Throughout the season, professional American football has repeatedly shown how one-dimensional offenses struggle against well-prepared defenses. The NFL analysis of this matchup points precisely in that direction, forcing Jared Stidham to carry the offensive burden without consistent support from the Broncos' running game puts the offense in a vulnerable position. And defenses like the Patriots know how to exploit this kind of imbalance. Another point worth highlighting is the maturity with which New England has been facing opponents with high defensive levels. The notion that the team has advanced through an easy path does not hold up, given their recent history of matchups. Facing well-rated defenses and maintaining consistent performance reinforces the team's credibility and validates the collective strength shown so far. For the fan, this type of analysis goes beyond the natural excitement of a decisive game. It's about understanding how the matchups fit together, where the real advantages lie, and what factors can decide a playoff game. In the case of this AFC Championship game, the data, the context, and recent performance point to a clear defensive advantage for the Patriots. None of this guarantees results because American football always leaves room for adjustments, improvisation, and individual moments. Even so, when you look at the overall picture, it's clear that New England arrives with a solid foundation. Efficient defensive pressure, a reliable Patriots secondary, a dominant Patriots front seven against the run, and the ability to exploit the opposing quarterback's limitations create a favorable scenario. This analysis doesn't ignore the talent of the other side, but acknowledges the current circumstances. With Jared Stidham at the helm after Bo Nix's injury, and with a running game impacted by the physical condition of its key players, the Broncos enter the field needing to overcome significant obstacles. On the other side, the Patriots display stability, execution, and confidence in their defensive identity. For those who closely follow the NFL, this matchup represents more than just a battle for a spot in the finals. It's a test of preparation, game reading, and the ability to impose style. And at this moment, everything indicates that the Patriots' defense has the necessary tools to dictate the pace and directly influence the outcome of the game, keeping New England in a prominent position in the professional American football scene.